All right, so let's continue. So yeah, let's look how would we go through all of the data types. If you have enum, right? So again, since you have numbers, integers underneath, you can iterate, right? It's not maybe not very pretty looking, but you can do it, right? You start with something. Obviously, if you start with Monday, right? It all depends what's your enum, right? If I start with Monday, right? Then obviously you can go to Sunday, right? So let's do that. Let's make a loop, right? Right. So, yeah. So now let's loop. Now let's loop through all days of the week. 4, yeah. So exactly like the book says, yeah. So weekday. So scoping wise, this should be local scope, right? For loop, right? It should be day should be out of scope now, right? Yeah. So that's again. So I can do day. No, you see, it's not available, right? So that's good. Again, the less global pollution, the better, right? You want to, again, develop and wise, you want to keep your scope as tight as possible, right? Again, Python, of course, if you do Python, everything is everywhere almost. They are, right? JavaScript, so on, right? So stricter, which is good, good, right? You want your scope to be as small as possible. Okay, AI agrees with me. All right, nice to have that. So let's run it, right? So the tricky part is this part here, right? Again, because this number, so you say day is, right, technically start with Monday, at least Sunday, you cast week from this, right? Theoretically, you're right, you could go through over, right? You can put some number here, right? It's actually number 6 underneath, right? So that's why I don't like this, the way C++ does it, but okay, we'll go with it. No errors, right? And we have enums day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now obviously, this +1 is actually day 0, right? But we said, we had a +1. Okay, now we'll get to actually some good use case, hopefully, right? So, yeah, so it's extremely common to use enums in conjunction with switch case, right? So, it is very common to use enums. Exactly. How did AI know I was going to say that? It read my mind, right? So, thank you, AI. So for example, right? So, right on switch case, switch case, right? Come on, my log. I'm lazy. Yeah, switch day. Again, exactly. Switch day. Pick up. Right. So it's Monday and so on and so on. Notice the break. Of course, I don't need STD anymore, right? Because I used namespace already for it, right? So, and of course, default, this is aliens or something, right? So this is how you write. Again, it looks pretty boring code, and it might be, right? But this makes it for relatively easy to maintain. Because why? You catch all the, it's not case 0. You don't care about that, right? But there's 0 actually underneath, right? You do something, right? And if you do some big application, this type of code is just going to be pretty easy to maintain, right? To add some cases, right? Easy to manage, right? You do something based on something, right? Of course, you could do this with if-else. There could be maybe some other data structure. You could do a map or something, look it up for some array or something. But this approach, right? You basically shouldn't get, you should be able to catch some errors, logical errors most likely as well, right? So it's Wednesday. No, it's not Wednesday. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah. Now let's do that. Yeah, it's Tuesday. All right. So this construction, right? This does not look too hard, right? Switch, right? And again, it works because it works on enums, right? Because of course underneath you have the integers, right? Again, some language makes stronger separation from this, but again, C++, it's sort of, it's like it's a very thin layer over integers, basically, right? So, okay, are we good on this?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. If you're not good, let me know, right? If something is not clear, if something is like, okay, now, what else can we do? So yeah, so you cannot change input. Right? Of course, you cannot input algebra, right, or a weekday, right? It's not going to understand, right? So how do you pass into functions, right? So let's make a function to, you can put value by reference again, right? Again, since underneath you have integers, it's pretty much easy to do that, right? So because with reference, of course, it will happen. We will be able to change the value, right? Yeah. And the function can return a value of enumeration type. Okay, let's take an example, right? So let's look. Okay, don't have any functions, right? We'll get typedefs in a moment. So let's make a function. Let's make a function. Let's make a function, right? Let's make a function that returns a week enum bool if it is a weekday. Okay, sure. Right. And the thing is, okay, so this is the thing, yeah. So this function, right? In comes week, out comes boolean, right? Easy function. And yeah, and the thing is, right, I said this works, and this is, of course, this is logically correct, but again, sometimes you can mess up with this, right? Because of this, again, because of the integers, right? You say at least Monday, less than Friday, right? So Tuesday, so what's the danger? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are implicit in that, right? Again, they could go out of, if you have the bad definition of enum, right? It will mess up, right? Or think of how it could also go wrong. If you start, maybe if your day starts on Friday for some reason, right? I don't know what country, but if your weekday starts on Friday, right, and goes Saturday, Sunday, and maybe I don't know, Monday is off, right? Then this won't work, right? Because of course the number, because this again is 0, right, and this is 4, right? So this could go, this could, yeah. Also, yeah, as well, right? That also would work, but again, this is even more implicit, right? Because you don't know you don't even know what's underneath Monday, Friday, right? Personally, right? Again, personally, I would consider full names for a week in switch, right? In switch statement. I'll show you, right? So, right, I'll show you the example, right? And you see, okay, switch, right? There, you see, and this approach, right, is like bulletproof, right? This is more bulletproof approach. Again, talking again not as students, but as actually something doing in production, right? So you are not gonna, and it's easy to add. And if you decide for some reason your manager comes to you, okay, we are gonna start working on Saturdays, right? So you put a Saturday here also, right? Easy, right? So from maintainability, also easy. Also easy to add Saturday. So at Union has Saturdays, working days. Saturday, if you have an evil manager boss, right? So yeah, right. So yeah. So again. And now, of course, you want to write short code right here. Of course, usually it'll be okay. Of course, you might not need to change it all, right? But, of course, if you are getting paid by a line, right? Again, of course, this will give you 10 more lines, right? So, hopefully, luckily, I never had a job where I had to work by lines. But there are people who, work at some big bank or something, and they get paid. They have reviews, how many lines of code they've written, right? It's a metric, right? And people learn to optimize for those metrics, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, right? Yeah. And this is actually a good case of optimizing. Of course, you can make a big mess. You can make a big mess. Yeah. Industrial size fizzbuzz and so on. Right. So, now, let's continue what else. Yeah. So typedef. So we get to the next thing, which we'll be using. Typedef is very common in C and C++ languages, used often. Basically, you call something by else. It's an alias. Basically, you create an alias. You don't create a new data type, right? You basically say, okay, it might be more useful to have some existing data type to use a different name for it. It's actually used often in the declarations, right? So, very good approach, right? So, all right. Yeah. So let's look at an example, right? Typedef, something existing, right, and something new, right? Okay, namespace. We'll get to the typedefs. So we'll be using typedefs from now on quite a bit. Let's create a new app. Let's create the typedef for week. Day I don't like. That's a good name. Well, I'll tell you, week is kind of short. So what I'll do is maybe I'll do even more. I'll do weekdays. Week. Well, I could do maybe W, for example, right? Lazy, right? Or alias, just an alias for week. Of course, W is a bit short for week. Yeah, right. So now I can use W, right? Now, of course, yeah. Now, since I define W as in typedef, yeah. So, yeah. I can use this. The question is, do I need to use this? This should work even. I think even I don't need this. I think this will work. Let's see. See how. Yeah. Let's see if this works. Again, in practice, W is a bit too short. Use no very short name. Name can be hard to read. Okay, right? So again, of course, why we use it? Because we are lazy, right? We don't want to write this big, if you have this big mess. And later on, when we get to pointers, the typedefs are very useful. You have some compounds, some big declaration of, like a pointer to something of something. You can typedef it as one type, basically, a new type, basically. Very useful, actually. Right, so, another day, right? Let's see if it compiles. Well, good question. It compiled. Okay, good. And it works, right? So it works. Yeah. So again, right. So no. So W is just an alias. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that's a very short introduction to typedefs, right? And now we get to namespace, right? On our compatibility lists, right? So standard. Well, again, let's look at the standards. This is like a new topic, basically, right? So list. I think I showed you list of C++ standards, right? We got up to 26, right? Wikipedia is going to help us, right? Again, right? So 98, right? Started earlier, right? 98 is the first one, the big one. Some languages have never had standardization, right? They're sort of unofficial, right? So C++ 20 is technically I guess, according to Wikipedia, which you can't trust, can't completely trust sometimes, right? Basically, there's 3-year schedule. Well, it's better than Python every year, right? JavaScript, also JavaScript comes out, there's ECMAScript 6, right, which is like a couple of years ago. Is that JavaScript 7? I don't think there is one here, right? Some languages have really strange schedule. Language like Perl, for example, has been stuck for like 20 years, basically. It's the same, right? Of course, somebody say, okay, I have perfect language, I don't need anything else. So C++ is saying, okay, I want everything. They have every feature, right? So look at this. Well, it is influenced by C, right? It's small type, but it's influenced Python, PHP, Perl, Java. Every language here under the sun, Rust, of course, right? All of them have been heavily influe+ed by C++, even Python, right? Yeah. So that guy here, right? And let's blame him, right? So now, so we are up to C++ 23. Actually there's a meeting, right? March 24. So I think it was approved, actually, right? I think it was approved, right? Again, it's already support because it's, kind of silly 2023, right? I mean, it should be already available. So again, if you need to have a different version, right? So compiling, right? You add ++, right? So compiling different standard C++, right? it's, yeah, of course, right? Let me see here. This is not like this C++, G++, right? Plus, right? Where is it? The line. Well, you can use things like this actually, right? Which you don't really want to use today. But let me see the command line. If I want different standard, let's say there's a new feature, right? So G++, right? I would add, and I forget now offhand. I think it was std, right? I believe equal, and I don't know what. Let me see if I can remember. Let me find. So flag standard. Yeah, let's take a look at all. Yeah, this one here. std, this flag here, right? Of course, choose your poison here, right? By default. So question is it gonna support 20? Oh no, control V, allow, yeah. Yeah, so of course I can, this is older one, right? So for some reason, why would you want to do this actually in general, right? Because you have maybe some libraries, maybe some bigger projects which started a long time ago, and then of course you need to support this older standard, which we can call 11, for example. Let's see if it compiles, right? Let's see, maybe there's some new feature which is completely alien to this, let's see if it doesn't compile. No, you compile a file. Can you run it? Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm using anything. So let's do 14, right? Can you see this, guys, right? So, yeah, and of course, enums, yeah, no problem. There shouldn't be anything. So let's go, how high can we go? Since this machine, this virtual machine is running on a Ubuntu 20, I suspect, and there's been no updates, so probably 23 is probably out of question. We'll see. No problem. I think this is standard for now. Let's do 20. It's going to probably yell at it's experimental. Do you see? Oh yeah, 20 is not supported on this, so we have to update. The compiler, right? Because if you check here, right, version. So this is right. Goes to all. It's Ubuntu 20, right? And of course they have like from 2019 version 9.4, right? Let's see what the version of GCC is. GCC versions, right? It's I think up to 14 already, right? Every year. So 19 was 9, I guess, right? Yeah. So oh God, got the release date. Okay, so 9.5. But it's actually we are up. Yeah, we are here basically on this intro machine, right? So 5 years back, right? Of course, you have local installations. You can check how high. Can you get 23? Compiles 23 or 26, maybe something compiles 26. Anyone? Try compiling hello world is 26. Maybe it's possible, right? Maybe it's cutting edge, right? 23 should be doable, right? But I don't recommend flying that close to the edge of the sun with experimental versions. Okay, but yeah, so that's something to again remember, right? Again, don't remember. Remember that it's possible to change versions of compiler. Don't have to remember. Excuse me?
Yeah, it says C++ 93, like the first revision. Let's go.
Yeah. So, okay, now. We're almost done. So standard, so namespace, right? Of course, we use namespaces for avoiding name collision, obviously, right? So you can actually put things inside. You can make your own namespaces, right? So namespace, right? Members, and you can put things like that. So namespace global type, right? So global type, right? So this, what does this mean, right? This means that you have to, all these values, you have to prepend global type in front of it, basically, right, when you use them. Unless, of course, you use using namespace, right? So let's do a little namespace code. I'll close this enums, right? Again, reminder that all of this code should be available in a GitHub repository, like here. Let's take a look if it's still available. Yeah, there's enums here, right? 35 minutes ago. I'll update it, actually. Let me update this, right? Enums finished for now. Or actually, well, I know one thing we didn't do is I didn't show you how. I showed you how to how to have a function to return a boolean, right? How about boolean, right? How about a function to adjust a day by number of days? Yeah, so this will be correct. So this means, of course, right? So, right. So, of course, you need to use this. So no, so this won't go to bounds, right? Of course, 7 is the number of days in a week, right? So we have day, the week, day, right? So that's how to do, adjust day, right? Of course, in theory, right? Of course, we could also do. So this won't overflow, right? I mean, this won't go. Well, I won't say overflow. It won't actually break the. This would be the correct way of doing it as logical, semantically speaking, right? Adjust day. So this will be, right? Returns a new day, right? And how about the similar function that modifies the day in place, right? Right. So, what's the difference? The difference is that this modifies the existing, right? This makes a new one, right? Returns a new one, right? Okay. So you get in place, out of place, right? Void, nothing is returned. Of course, you can return an error message or something, but yeah. All right. So let's use them. That's the last thing I want to show you. So let's use or adjust the function. Right? I'll do like 50 days. Right? So we have a calculator, right? What's going to happen if it's Tuesday, 50 days from now on? What kind of day it's going to be, right? So what day of week is after Tuesday, right? Of course, the thing is, of course, we would need to also know what day it is to print out, right? So we need to prove this is, you need also a function to print day, right? Print day, right? Well, we'll use this one, right? That's our switch, right? Or where is my? I'll put this in here, right? Also, let's do that. Let's make a function. Let's make a function to return string. Right? Yeah. Switch. Again, we know that. Return, and we have default unknown, or nay, right? What day? Right. Simple, right? String, right? C++, C++11 type of string. Right? Okay. How do I call this function? Day to string. Day to string. Okay, day to string. So I'll use that. Day to string, and of course day 2, right? This should say. Okay. All right, we'll see, right? Adjust day, all right? Also now, let's run it. So this is out of place version. So 20 doesn't work, I'll do 17. Which I think is actually default. Enums. All right, it's day 3, Wednesday, right? Day 3 is Wednesday, which is good, right? That's tomorrow. But also one day, which makes, of course, sense if you think logically, because 49, right? 49 would be just rollover, plus 1 would be, of course, next day, which is Wednesday, right? Makes sense, like 7 times 7. Okay, now let's do in place. This is out of place. This is out of place. Okay, now let's use, last thing, now let's use, new in place function. So weekday is Tuesday. All right, why not? Adjust day, right, by 50. So this will be again, of course, will be. So this modifies in place. So we modify by passing. So it can be. It's So function, so it's change. Okay. So basically, what happens underneath, right? It's leading up to pointers. That there is actually reference means, of course, that there is a memory address. This function knows where this data is stored, of course, and it will be able to change it, right? Not by value, right? Just by actually reference. So this is last one for enums, and it's all done. Wednesday. All right. So tomorrow is indeed Wednesday. Okay. Now that passing by reference, enums by reference and value, or vice versa actually. Now, what else do you want to see? So namespace, let's do some namespace before we finish today. Namespaces, and yeah, string type of course is also very good. So, where's my, there we go. So namespaces. All right. Where's my name? Okay. So, let's make our namespace to store few, not functions, some custom functions, few data types, and some constants, and simple function. All right. So first we go yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh god. So yeah. So we have namespace enums. So namespace, right? Namespace is like triple actually. I think this is triple namespace, right? Enum weak, right? This AI went a little bit over the board, right? Let's not do that much, right? Let's do, in fact, I think it got so far, string. Well, we don't have string. Include. String, include iostray. Include. Yeah. We have a namespace. That's my, So basic idea is, of course, now this is double namespace, right? Enums, right? Functions, right? And enums weak, right? Right. So now you have to use. This is what you see in the actual code. You see this ugliness, right? So enums weak, and then you have enums weak Monday, right? So that's how. Well, again, namespace consider a good idea. I think this is a little bit overkill here because we have double namespace, right? So let's use it, right? So let's use it. Let's use our namespace in main. Int main. Come on, let's do something. Define new day. Okay, so this is double, right? So my namespace enums today, namespace enums week Monday, right? Well, again, if you look at like a big C++ code space, you will see this type of code. Again, here, no, so we actually have double level layer namespace here. We have my namespace, which has two namespaces inside, right? One of them is enums, yeah, and one is functions, right? So this is like relatively complex example, right? Like intermediate example. And again, do you have to write this type of? I'm not going to ask you defining your own namespace on the midterm. So that's the thing, right? You can, right? Right. So you can explore this example, right? So these are basically sort of like namespace, so namespace, and then you have enum underneath, right? So relatively nice and orderly, right? If you make a bigger project, right, then this will be useful. I think a good start with just using simple namespace, right? And again, if I want to, if I want to skip this access, I can use this, right? But I can use this, for example, right? So I can use this short one. Then I'll have actually this is weak, right? So my big namespace, right? I can skip now. I can skip. I'll just do this part here. I won't use actually weak right now. Let me see. But doesn't it work? I thought it should work. It should work. I guess I thought it should work. And then So I have standard. Okay, let's see. Weak. So let's do this. Let's use using namespace. Using namespaces. Namespace. Yeah. Sorry. My namespace. Right. So what this means now, I can use enums on functions directly. Right. Yeah. So now I can create new day enums week, right? Enums week. I don't need my name. Why? Because this I use this, right? So here is a shorter way, right? So again, on one hand, you create these names, and then again, you say, okay, this is too much. I don't want to type this big bunch of namespace, right? I can use my namespace, say, okay, skip this part here. Just like, so very similar. So just like using namespace standard, yeah. Okay, so that's something I just want to show you, right? Again. Avoid. Okay. So now, if I wanted functions, so if I want to use functions directly, then I can supply 2 levels of namespace, right? So using namespace, my namespace functions. Right now my functions are directly accessible, right? So this I skip 2 levels. I skip 2 levels of namespace, right? I skip the author, my namespace, and I skip the local, right? Again, it would be a good practice to do this longer, but of course for most normal code, right, you don't really want 2 levels. Just starting is 1 or maybe none. You can just put your functions in normal, right? So takeaway from this is, okay, so namespaces, your own namespaces are great in larger projects, right? For smaller projects, they can be overkill, right? Especially 2 levels. Of course, you can do 5 levels, right? Sometimes you have some code, you have this real organization. This namespace, right? Or more. Okay, so that's the namespace. Again, the good news for you is if I'm not actually going to require you for this course, it's good to use them. Of course, you need to use standard namespace, but not the absolutely required. No. Called namespace example. And the last thing today we want to check is, of course, strings, which is pretty nice data type, right? String type, right? So basically, we include string. This is what I recommend, right? And it has some nice, some basic things that you know in most of the languages. It used to be. You have to use the C-type strings. So my advice is, as much as possible, you need text. Use string. Of course, it's still not all roses and flowers, because Unicode is still going to be a problem, of course, right? But for now, right, strings, right, and it has some extra type. It's data type, right? You can also get how much the position, right? Size type, right? Let's take a look here. Some examples, right? String swap, right? We can swap some values you want. String 1 swap with string 2. It's interesting method, right? Just a quick one, right? But we'll maybe go do more on strings. Yeah, like a couple minutes. String, but of course the thing is, okay, this is a little bit careful. My string, I'll call it my string. String examples, right? 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 Examples, but like, of course, it shouldn't be a problem, right? But naming things which are used in standard library, it shouldn't really be a problem in C++, but as you know, sometimes you can run into problems when you're naming, actually naming collisions, one of the biggest problems in programming, right? So I said, since there is strings already, right, I use string examples, right? So this is something we'll probably do next time. C++ has string type. Yeah, so, right, include, first we included. IOString, and of course include string. So, for now, it wants to do namespace, I don't do it, it's just a simple string. So, simple string example in main. Yeah, name. Valdis. Valerie, no, Valdis. Why didn't, of course, using namespace. Under. Right, now it works. RBS, string, school, university, RTU or RBS, let's do RBS, right? Yeah. So interesting, you can use, yeah, strings support concatenation, right? Well, this RBS, right? Well, this RBS, okay. All right, then G++. Right. And of course, well, it's RBS, right? So the book mentions a swap function, right? One of the many string supports, such as strings, many useful methods, function, member function. We'll talk about OP later. For example, swap. Side, right? Right. Right. Which of course you know by now. So last examples. Right? On easy stuff, right? Very familiar, right? All right. So I'll see you guys on Thursday. Thank you. Again, this all is good. Nothing too crazy, right? I will commit this so you can check this example. String stuff.